Noob Saibot is the coolest looking character in Mortal Kombat, who has accomplished almost nothing in 30 years. He's the mascot of what I'd call aura versus performance. It's like the gap between how threatening a character looks and how often the story actually lets them do something. And Noob Saibot might have the widest gap in fighting game history. But to understand how that gap got so wide, we gotta rewind to a time when he wasn't even Noob Saibot, because he was somebody way more important. Before the Shadow Powers, Bi-Han was Sub-Zero, and he was considered the most cunning assassin the clan had ever produced. His ice powers operated around -500 degrees Fahrenheit, which is about -296 Celsius, which is nearly double the cold of absolute zero. When fans pointed out that this was physically impossible, Midway's official response was that the laws of physics work differently in Outworld. This showed us that he was a walking violation of thermodynamics. Also, before I forget to mention, he wasn't the first to carry the name. The Sub-Zero title actually belonged to his grandfather before him. Bi-Han was a character who peaked before his first performance review. But let's give him credit where it's due, because Mortal Kombat Mythologies is the only game where Bi-Han was ever the protagonist. He defeated all 4 elemental gods guarding Shinnok's amulet, the gods of wind, earth, water, and fire, and then fought the fallen elder god, Shinnok himself, as a human. I need you to remember that, because it makes everything that comes after embarrassing. The sorcerer Quan Chi hires the Lin Kuei to help retrieve a map leading to Shinnok's amulet from a Shaolin temple, and Bi-Han gladly takes the job. What he doesn't know is that Quan Chi double-booked the contract and hired a Shirai Ryu ninja named Hanzo Hasashi for the exact same job. 2 assassins with the same target, and neither one was told about the other. Bi-Han kills Hanzo during the mission, but Quan Chi was running a scheme underneath the scheme. He used the chaos from that contract to wipe out the entire Shirai Ryu clan and pinned all of it on Bi-Han and the Lin Kuei. So now, Hanzo gets resurrected by Quan Chi as the Spectre Scorpion, running on pure revenge. And every drop of that rage is aimed at Bi-Han, who didn't even order the massacre. Bi-Han killed Hanzo, sure, but the genocide of the Shirai Ryu was Quan Chi's play from the jump. By the time the first Mortal Kombat tournament kicks off, Scorpion has one objective, and it is to kill Sub-Zero. And the way it plays out in Mortal Kombat 9 is perfect for understanding exactly who the hell Bi-Han was. Scorpion tells him the Shirai Ryu are dead, and he'll suffer the same fate. And Bi-Han's response was like,
"To hell with your clan."
Scorpion fires back with,
"No, to hell with you."
And drags him straight to the Netherrealm. After Scorpion beats him down there, Quan Chi shows a vision of the Shirai Ryu massacre. Bi-Han, seeing himself in the vision, says, "That is not me," denying responsibility for the genocide. But take note, he wasn't begging. Anyways, Scorpion kills him, and after he dies, his soul sinks to the 5th plane of the Netherrealm, and you won't believe who was waiting for him at the bottom. Quan Chi, the same sorcerer who architected the entire chain of events that killed him. But he didn't stop there, because he strips away Bi-Han's compassion, everything human about him, and rebuilds him as a shadow wraith. Now, he was reborn as Noob Saibot, and his first assignment was to serve the Brotherhood of the Shadow, which is Shinnok's cult. The same Shinnok he'd already beaten in single combat as a human. He went from defeating an Elder God to clocking in as that Elder God's entry-level employee. And that transformation was in a way the players wouldn't even find out Noob Saibot and the original Sub-Zero were the same person for over a decade. Because for most of the 90s and early 2000s, Noob Saibot was more of an inside joke than a character, but it played out well. The name itself gives away the origin. Noob is Boon backwards. Saibot is Tobias backwards. Ed Boon and John Tobias, who are the co-creators of Mortal Kombat, named a character after themselves in reverse. Boon actually snuck him into Mortal Kombat 2 without even telling Tobias. He was a solid black silhouette, more like a palette swap of the other male ninjas, and you could only fight him after winning 50 consecutive rounds. That's a ridiculous barrier for a secret encounter, but it was genius from a business standpoint, because Reptile had already proven in the first Mortal Kombat game that hidden characters drove arcade revenue through the roof, and kids dumped quarter after quarter trying to trigger the secret fight. Noob Saibot in Mortal Kombat 2 was that same energy cranked to the max. The character didn't have any backstory, or a real moveset. His specials were copied from Scorpion, and the community lost their minds over him. Then, Mortal Kombat 3 rolls around, and since the base version didn't include most ninja character models, the devs made Noob a black palette swap of Kano. So for one game, the supposed Dark Wraith of the Netherrealm was Kano in a dark filter. That eventually got changed when Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3 brought the ninja models back, and Noob finally became a proper playable character with his silhouette restored. But across all of these games, nobody knew who Noob Saibot was. His lore was razor thin for about 6 games and roughly 12 real-world years. This character existed as a vibe with a health bar, and the community stayed fascinated specifically because there was nothing concrete to know yet. Nobody had to defend his storyline because he didn't have one. Nobody could point out plot holes because there was no plot. The mystery was the whole product, and it sold itself somehow. But that all changed in 2004, when Mortal Kombat Deception finally pulled back the curtain. They revealed who Noob Saibot really was, which should have been a massive turning point. Don't attack me yet, it was. But the game also did something baffling at the same time. They gave him a roommate, and that creative choice is one he's never fully recovered from. Mortal Kombat Deception does 2 things at once. It confirms Noob Saibot is the resurrected Bi-Han, and it immediately handcuffs his identity to another character. The reveal itself is a massive payoff, because the 12 years of mystery was revealed. His younger brother Kuai Liang is now the current Sub-Zero, and the emotional stakes practically write themselves at this point. But the packaging choice undermined the whole thing. In Deception, Noob Saibot doesn't appear solo. He's bundled into a tag team character slot called Noob-Smoke. He found the cyborg ninja Smoke deactivated in Shao Kahn's old fortress, so he rebooted his nanotechnology, reprogrammed him, and turned Smoke into his personal muscle. The plan was to use Smoke's cybernetic body as a template for building an army of cyber demons and conquering the Netherrealm. At this point in time, Noob Saibot was a villain showing initiative. All his former bosses were gone. Shinnok had been dealt with, Shao Kahn was out of the picture, and Quan Chi wasn't pulling strings anymore. Noob Saibot, for the first time ever, decides to go independent and build his own empire. When Noob and Smoke crossed paths with Kuai Liang, something unspoken hung in the air. The game tells us that if Bi-Han were still human, he might have felt pride in how strong his brother had become. But he's not human anymore. So he orders Smoke to help him kill his younger brother. Except that confrontation never pays off, because Armageddon hits and everyone gets thrown into the cosmic blender. This time, the Noob versus Sub-Zero rivalry evaporates without a proper resolution, because in Armageddon, the warrior Taven defeats both Noob and Smoke in the Lin Kuei Temple. Noob's non-canonical ending has him fighting a vision of his former self as Sub-Zero, merging into some hybrid being that's neither Noob Saibot nor Sub-Zero. That plotline goes absolutely nowhere. Mortal Kombat 9 is where Noob Saibot loses every fight that matters. The game retells Mortal Kombat 1 through Mortal Kombat 3 in a new timeline triggered by Raiden sending a warning to his past self. Bi-Han's death plays out almost identically, and he enters Shang Tsung's tournament to fight Sonya Blade, and he loses. Scorpion confronts him and drags him to the Netherrealm to burn him alive, and once again, he gets resurrected off-screen by Quan Chi as Noob Saibot. The L streak begins almost immediately. The first story mode encounter had him cross paths with Liu Kang and Kung Lao in the Netherrealm, and Kung Lao knocks him out. Kung Lao even notes that this Shadow Wraith has a familiar presence, sensing that he was fighting the old Sub-Zero without fully realizing it. But Noob escapes, only because Kung Lao moves on to fight Goro, someone the story considers more important. But it gets worse for Noob. Quan Chi was assisting Shao Kahn to resurrect Queen Sindel, and Noob was more like Quan Chi's minion, and was involved in the events surrounding Sindel's return. During that period, he encountered Cabal, and Cabal attempted to interfere with the resurrection plan. So Noob and Mileena double-team Cabal, and yeah, they both lose. He was also assigned to guard Quan Chi's Soulnado, which is a massive vortex of stolen souls, and his own brother Kuai Liang shows up, in a cyborg form. Noob fights him, and again, loses to his own cybernetically enhanced little brother. Nightwolf arrives. Noob fights Nightwolf and loses again. Nightwolf also destroys the Soulnado by kicking Noob Saibot directly into it, where he gets ripped apart by thousands of raging souls. That's how his story in Mortal Kombat 9 ends. Kinda depressing. But what's not depressing to me is you hitting the subscribe button. Mortal Kombat X comes out, and he doesn't even make the roster. He's reduced to a background image on a collectible combat card. Meanwhile, his brother Kuai Liang gets to be the Lin Kuei Grandmaster with a full character arc. Scorpion also gets a redemption story, but Noob Saibot gets a trading card. Mortal Kombat 11 eventually brings him back, and NetherRealm Studios gives him exactly one relevant scene. Kronika, the Keeper of Time, promises him his own clan of living shadows if he helps her reset the timeline. So he shows up at the Cyber Lin Kuei assembly plant, ambushes Scorpion, and comes face to face with his brother and Hanzo Hasashi. He delivers a line about being too strong to die because Quan Chi's creations were built too strong, and then he fights them and loses as usual. I don't think this is surprising anymore. The crazy thing is the fact that it's his entire Mortal Kombat 11 contribution. Now let's tally it up across the NetherRealm trilogy. In Mortal Kombat 9, he lost to Kung Lao, Cabal, Cyber Sub-Zero, Nightwolf, and got destroyed in the Solnado. In Mortal Kombat 10, he was absent, and in Mortal Kombat 11, he lost to Scorpion and Sub-Zero. Noob Saibot can teleport through shadows, duplicate himself, and even manipulate darkness on a metaphysical level, but his win count is 0 across 3 games. He's like a punching bag with an incredible graphic design, and you'd think after all that, the new era would finally hand him a fresh start. But wait till you see how it turns out after Liu Kang rewrites the whole universe from scratch. Mortal Kombat 1 makes a genuinely bold call with Bi-Han. Instead of starting him as a wraith, the game resets him fully. And this time, he's the Grandmaster of the Lin Kuei, and a villain right out of the box because he chose to be one. Liu Kang, now a fire god and the architect of this new timeline, designed Bi-Han's circumstances to prevent the Noob Saibot tragedy from ever happening. He gave Bi-Han the Grandmaster title and reassigned Kuai Liang to the Scorpion identity instead of Sub-Zero. He also added Smoke as an adopted third brother. Bi-Han tossed all of it in the garbage because he wanted more power. The story starts by showing Bi-Han defending Earthrealm alongside his brothers under Liu Kang's command. But he's restless and believes the Lin Kuei should rule Earthrealm, not protect it. Liu Kang sends the brothers to assault the Ying Fortress where Shang Tsung has been operating. On the way there, Bi-Han openly says he's tired of being Liu Kang's guard dog. His brothers push back, telling him he's abandoning their father's teachings. Getting to the fortress, Shang Tsung makes his play and offers Bi-Han control of the Dragon Army. Bi-Han accepts on the spot and betrays Kuai Liang to his face. He also confessed in saying he let their father die.
And I was right to let him die.
Kuai Liang fights him, and Bi-Han slashes his brother across the face, leaving the scar that mirrors the classic Sub-Zero design from older games. But Kuai Liang wins and locks Bi-Han up. Eventually, he moved with Smoke to Japan, where they found the Shirai Ryu. Then, the Khaos Reigns expansion drops, and things go exactly how you'd expect. Titan Havoc invades, and Bi-Han lead the Lin Kuei against the Shirai Ryu to field test Sector's and Cyrax-powered combat suits, but he gets intercepted by Havoc's forces. Havoc steals Bi-Han's soul and transforms him into Noob Saibot. But this version isn't the traditional Netherrealm Wraith. It's Chaos-powered, and he turned into Havoc's personal enforcer. Kuai Liang, Sector, and Cyrax eventually enter Havoc's timeline, only to find Bi-Han fully converted. They dragged him back to Liu Kang's Fire Temple, and Liu Kang manages to restore Bi-Han's mind. The chaos influence lifts, but the physical corruption stays. He's still Noob Saibot in his physical form. Sector turns out to be suspiciously involved with Bi-Han. She's visibly emotional when he regains consciousness, and she stayed loyal through his betrayal of Earthrealm, his war against his own brothers, and now his transformation into a shadow creature. That kind of devotion honestly deserves its own audit, because what exactly did Bi-Han do to earn it, given his resume of backstabbing every other person who trusted him? The real kicker comes next, because they put him in a coma to cure his corrupted body, but he wakes up ahead of schedule, and instead of wanting to be healed, he embraces the Noob Saibot form, and he treats what Titan Havoc did as a blessing. He wants to keep the shadow powers, and use them to make the Lin Kuei invincible, beyond the reach of Liu Kang and the Shirai Ryu. Every timeline or reboot, someone offers this man power with strings attached, and he grabs it with both hands every single time. He does eventually get a real win. In the end, Noob Saibot is the one who puts Titan Havoc down, doing enough damage that even Havoc's godly healing factor can't keep up. Liu Kang banishes Havoc to the void afterward. So after decades of eating losses in story modes across every era, Noob Saibot gets his victory against a god who'd already been worn down by an entire multiverse coalition. He needed the full squad to get there, but a win is a win, and I'm not taking that away. Finally, as expected, he goes right back to being a problem. He doesn't want to be cured. Same Bi-Han, different coat of paint. The universe literally restructured itself to hand him a better life, and he chose the shadow powers over his own family inside of a single expansion pack. Anyways, Noob Saibot is both a legend and a cautionary tale about what happens when a character's design outpaces their narrative for 3 decades straight. On one side, the all-black silhouette design, the shadow clone, and teleport are iconic. There's a reason he tops request lists every time a new Mortal Kombat game gets announced. On the other side, we had 30+ years and 3 separate timelines, and Bi-Han has never been the primary architect of his own story. Every version of Bi-Han has the same flaw baked into his code. He reaches for power, but he always takes it from somebody else's hand. Quan Chi offers resurrection. He takes it. Shinnok offers purpose. He takes it. Kronika offers a shadow army. He takes it. Shang Tsung offers the dragon army. He takes it. Titan Havoc's chaos corruption gets forced on him, sure, but when given the choice to be cured, he kept the powers voluntarily. He's a man who keeps accepting franchise deals from sorcerers and warlords, and then can't figure out why he never actually owns the business. The aura is real, It's always been real. But Aura without agency is just a poster on a wall. And Noob Saibot has been a poster for 30 years. Maybe the next timeline will finally let him off the wall. If you stuck around for this whole thing, you clearly care about this character as much as I do. Tell me in the comments, do you think there's a version of Bi-Han who could have actually broken the cycle? Or is he destined to take L's across every reality? If you want more breakdowns like this, hit the subscribe button. Don't forget to make a character request you'd like to see. I'm Joe, and I'll see you on the next one.